Hey guys, and welcome back to another Power of Music. So, it has been quite the long time since I've done one, and I'm so sorry for that. And like I want you guys to do it, but I'm afraid I might not get to it for a while. So, feel free to list down in the comments below on these Power of Music videos what music you guys would like me to take a listen to and dive a little deeper into the message behind that song. And that's typically what I do with all of these. I mean, they're great songs. I don't play the songs because I don't want to get into a whole lot of problems as far as reacting. And I don't want this to be a reaction channel, but I want to be able to share some awesome music with you guys. So, I'm sorry, I already had a pre-made list of what all music I wanted to hit for this segment. And here we are with another Demon Hunters song. I'm a big Demon Hunter fan, if you guys haven't been able to tell yet. So let's jump into it. This one is Artificial Light. So it starts off with go exclamation mark. Tell me your misery. Give us the antidote. I heard a voice of change behind a vacant note. So let's light that up real quick. Let's put some light on the subject. Tell me your misery. Give us the antidote. Basically, that's kind of self-explanatory. Bring your problems to light and, give me a solution to those problems. I heard a voice of change behind a vacant note. That's amazing right there, because I really feel like that, and especially in today's society that we're in, I feel like there's people who are saying their piece, but nobody's really listening, and everybody's always like, "Yeah, I got the solution, I got the answer to it," but then nothing changes, nothing actually really happens. So let's move on to the next one. All this tearing apart without a reform. Call it what you will. I'm not afraid to say. Guys, this is my worship music. I'm not playing when I say that. This is absolutely my worship music. I love metal, and I love Christian metal. And the reason why is because they dive in a little bit deeper. They've got a little bit more audacity. Not really audacity. They've got a lot more power behind it. Songs are amazing. Songs are great, and we all worship, and we all, as Christians, we all give thanks and love and appreciate our, God in different ways. But this stuff is my way of doing it. I love this way. This is the way. Let's go over this again. All this tearing apart without a reform. Call it what you will. I'm not afraid to say. So basically, I think of the gym when you are working out and you're tearing some of your muscles. You're tearing them, but it is this traction, or this what do you call it? It's this contracting movement, and exercising this isolated muscle that it tears, but it's muscles are amazing because the more you work them out, the stronger they get. And if you stop working them out, then they tend to the muscle mass in there is going to tend to weaken. So I think of that when I think of all this tearing apart without a reform. So it's basically you're tearing these things, you're tearing your muscles without any muscle being able to build. You're tearing down a house without reforming, without without rebuilding, basically. Call it what you will. I'm not afraid to say. So that's basically saying, forget the PC, forget the political correction, forget, whatever, you label it whatever you want. I'm going to call it for what it is, for what I see. And that's what I love about it. It has got some, this has got some audacity. It's coming at you and it's saying enough's enough. When are we going to finally open our eyes? I've heard it all. Connections lost. We are standing by artificial light. You sell a fix for our defect, and all we find is artificial light. Guys, this right here kind of taps into the world that we see when we are looking up to idols and not looking up to ourselves or morals. And that's what this artificial light is all about. I love the title artificial light, because it's like, it's basically saying we have a light, but it's not the real light, that we are looking up to. We have a light. We see a form of what we should be looking up to, but it's not the purest form, or it's not the purest ideal of what we should be looking for in our day-to-day life. And getting by, check to check it sucks, and sometimes it's not by choice, but there's more to it than that. And that's, and this is talking about false idols in a way. And I really appreciate that, because I'm not really one for idols. If I had one, if I had somebody besides God that I would look up to, there's some honorable mentions, but really I couldn't. I really couldn't. There's some people that I honestly look up to and I take advice for, but in another sense, there's nobody better than one who knows it all, right? So without further, let's keep pushing. I've heard it all. Connections lost. Basically saying, I've heard your side. I've heard everything that you've told me, but somewhere we're still not getting the connection. Somewhere we're still not getting the solution to the problem. We're standing by. And this is more of a position of, okay, we're not going to push the effort, or we're not going to push the solution. We're not going to push on other people's, we're not going to push it. We're going to stand by and wait till somebody figures it out. They sell a fix for our defect, and all we find is artificial light. Basically saying, here are temporary solutions, but we don't have an actual antidote to your problem. This is a great song. I love this song, and we'll see here in a little bit. Sorry, I think I moved my camera. It just says doesn't break the model. I can't feel it in my bones. Nothing shattering my world. Guys, this is, obviously this is coming from a Christian point of view. And that's what I love about Demon Hunters is a lot of their songs, it builds a story, and then it gives its position. It builds the narrative, and then it gives it its their opinion. And it's a beautiful way of doing it. It's just a very poetic way of building or making these songs. Doesn't break the model. Basically, it doesn't affect the way I feel, look. It doesn't shake my world, I can't feel it in my bones. Basically, it's something that it's still above the surface. It's something that only messes with the crust of the earth. It's something that only messes with the surface. Nothing shattering my world. And I love that statement right there. Nothing shattering my world. It's not, the fact that we keep hearing a vacant, and vacant means, empty. So somebody saying, we're going to promise you change, but never changes. This doesn't shatter my world. This doesn't, I can't feel this, it basically, it doesn't hurt my feelings, is what they're trying to say. We want a real cure, not your idols, not idle sympathy. The dark consuming light that you have failed to be. Basically saying right there, We want a real cure, not your idle sympathy. We hear a lot of times, especially in today's society with how the news is and whatnot. Oftentimes we hear this this plea of wanting an actual solution, a legitimate solution to a problem that we're having. And a lot of these politicians, they get up and they promise, or they have so much sympathy, but yet aren't willing to and they're trillionaires. I mean, not trillionaires, but they are extremely wealthy people that absolutely could do something about it. But the only thing they give is sympathy, and it's idle sympathy right there too. And I love how they say that, how they differentiate just sympathy and add an idle sympathy to it, because it's a stagnant, it's a non-moving sympathy. It doesn't do anything. The dark consuming light that you have failed to be. Basically saying right there, you are not the light that is consuming the darkness. You're not consuming the darkness. You're not this light that we should follow. You're an artificial light. Moving on. No, it's not enough. I resent this no, it's not enough. I resent this deprivation. No, it's not enough. I resent this deprivation. Your remedy is not a weapon to slaughter the sorrow. It is just to keep you from feeling alone. Man, that's a awesome quote right there. Man, that's awesome. So let's dive into that. No, it's not enough. I resent your hold on, let me I resent your deprivation. So let's look up what deprivation means. Poverty and just says the word again. So poverty. So poor, or again, not wealthy, basically. Just poor. I resent this poor society. I resent this this deprivation. Your remedy is not a weapon to slaughter the sorrow. It's just to keep you from feeling alone. So let's look up remedy and see what we can't find here. Look it up. Remedy means treatment or solution. So just getting fancy with it, just using some vocabulary there. Your remedy, your solution is not a weapon to slaughter the sorrow. Now, what slaughter the sorrow? What does that mean? It means to destroy to destroy sadness. Sorrow. Guys, we see a lot of sorrow within today's society that I feel like absolutely could be helped. We absolutely could do something about this. But, and with how wealthy, with how rich people are, especially in America of all places, and one of the most generous nations out there. I feel like there are no argument there. There's no other nation that has ever been actively going out and helping people during tragedies as America has been, because of a lot of churches and a lot of just good, willing, doing people within our society. But yet there still is no solution. Your solution is not a weapon to slaughter the sorrow. It's just to keep you from feeling alone. Right there. It's just to keep you from feeling alone. So basically saying these politicians or these people who are promising change with no meaning behind it, with no willingness to actually make any change happen or occur, your weapon, or basically saying there is no solution to combat this sorrow, this sadness that has, fell across the nation. It's just to keep you from feeling alone. Basically, you're selling an antidote that makes everybody else feel the same way you feel, and it puts you in a better place, making nobody greater or nobody less than yourself. And doesn't that sound like socialism? Anyways, let's move on. I've heard it all, it repeats. So I've heard it all, connections lost. We're standing by artificial light. You sell us a fix for your defect, and all we find is artificial light. And it repeats there for a while. But here in the midst, I love this part. This is very powerful. And you can tell this is definitely from a Christian point of view. I will never see what they see in you. And that's amazing right there. It's a Christian standing up and saying, I will not worship you. I will not stand for what you stand for. And I will never see what these sheep see in you. And I love that. That is, again, guys, this is why this is my worship music, because it's got some power behind it. It's got it's just got some power behind it. It's got some fury behind it. And that's what I love about worship music of the metal type. So let's talk a little bit about this. Using some of these quotes and some of these lyrics in here, we can tell that, again, the song was mainly about false idols and worshiping things that we probably shouldn't worship, such as maybe that's people, maybe that's technology, maybe that's just something that you shouldn't put all of your hope and faith into. Now, for Christians, this is an easy concept, and I can't make or even fathom the idea of somebody who's not a Christian to live out Christian values. See, this is the problem that we have within society, is the fact that, and this is something that I've seen with politicians, is the fact that we expect them to live out Christian values, but how can we do that when them themselves do not value Christianity? Okay, so how can we expect somebody to uphold the law if they are not law-abiding citizens? We'll put it in another way, How can we expect them to do so if they don't choose to live that life? And this is where it really comes into yourself and your family, okay? Because it starts there. It's, if you want to fix the world and if you want to solve the world's problems, you have to start with your own family. You have to start with you. As soon as you get good at taking care of you, then you can take care of your community. Well, first of all, you have to take care of yourself. And as soon as you get good at taking care of yourself, take care of your family. And as soon as you get getting better and getting good at taking care of your family, take care of your community. And then once you get good at taking care of your community, take care of your state, take care of your country. Little by little, if you should find it in your ability to take care of others and find it in your ability to take care of, or should you? See, this is the big problem that I see with preachers and teachers, is the fact that yes, you could become a preacher, or yes, you could become a teacher, but should you? Preaching is probably one of the most biggest and important things our society, or our members of society, should uphold to a higher standard. It shouldn't be just your run-of-the-muck Joe Schmo. I'm not a preacher. I take song lyrics and I take messages behind them, and I speak about them in ways that some would consider preachy, but I really just find it more on the side of good moral stories, good principle stories. I love storytelling, and I love things that are storytelling, such as music, and I love being able to take from that and apply it to specific needs that we're experiencing right now. And what I feel is though, and it's a way to not make it's a way to for one, it's way easier to remember than 66 books. um, and for me at least, I love scripture. I love reading by the Bible, but I retaining information is difficult for me. It truly is a form of studying, and I'm not the strongest reader. I'm very dyslexic. Um, and That's one of the biggest things that people have got to understand when dealing with false idols and false societies is the fact that their intentions are not going to always revolve around you, first of all, and they're not always going to be, it's not always going to be the best solution. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody is in more of the dictatorship or socialism, it's basically the same thing. It's a higher power controlling a society, and the only thing it does is benefit that higher power. Where we, the people, it's more of a circle. It's not so much as this triangle where it all just keeps leading back up to the main leader, the main dictator. The society that America was founded upon was giving back to the people, we the people, and not trying to get into politics with this song, but this song has a lot of strong characteristics of not following in the footsteps of these sheep that follow false idols, false narratives, basically, and false, misleading I would have to say the biggest one is our morals, our moral values. That's probably the biggest thing that the biggest problem that I see in society today is that we don't have morals anymore. I don't ever think we could ever get back to a society where we could leave our houses without locking our doors. I don't think we could ever get back to doing that. However, I do feel as though we could become, once again, a strong nation. We just have to remember to stick to our morals and our values. You guys, see, this is the thing that Christianity was, or America was founded upon Christianity. And this country has some very rooted beliefs. And to change that, you're going to change what that society stood for and what the society is. And if you want to change what this society is and what this society does, it will not stand for the same things that it started off with. So if you want change in America, no more freedom, no more religious freedom, no more religion, then you are going to change the freedom that this country has inherited. And with that, you're going to bring a change, and America very well may see a leadership transaction of dictatorship and socialism. If you should change the foundation of what this society and what America stands for. In my opinion, America is rooted in freedom, and it's also rooted in religious freedom. And to change that, guys, it shouldn't be the goal. Okay, changing the religion, changing no more religion, or changing anything, and changing it to this artificial light, changing it to something that you think is going to be better, when we all know it's not. That's the problem that we have here. That's the problem that we got in society. Is that we are trying to come up with another solution rather than realizing the reality of our situation. We're trying to reject reality and substitute our own. And that is a problem I have because it affects us as a community. And some of the things and some of the ideologies and some of the problems that one side or the other comes to an agreement with doesn't always have such a mass effect as more priority problems. What I'm trying to say is there are bigger problems out there than coming up with a pronoun. I know that may be hard for some people to hear, but there are way bigger problems. And Clayton, I forget his last name, but he has a very powerful message, and he says somewhere in the midst of it, I can try to get a link to it, but basically he says somewhere on the lines of debating if gay marriage is what is right and what is fair, debating gay marriage, and we wonder why getting new church members is becoming so rare. He also goes on to saying, are tattoos wrong? Really, who cares? There's a dying world outside your church chairs or church pews and chairs. And I probably butchered that, but basically he's saying that there is a huge problem that we're having, and nobody's wanting to fixate on solving the big solutions. Everybody wants to, everybody's just nitpicking and screaming about the small problems and the small issues, and we're being very nitpicky, but nobody's willing to tackle the big problems. And I feel like if we choose to follow this artificial light, it's like fake plants. Okay, you want to plant and take care of and grow fake plants. Those fruits are only going to bear fake. Okay, so if you want to raise fake plants, those plants, you can't harvest them. You can't eat them. They're plastic. They're fake. They're not real. So try to remember to only plant what is real and what is true. Don't follow the artificial light. Follow the one true light, which you'll know which is which. It's pretty obvious. One true light is going to be the hardest route you will ever experience in your life. It's going to be a real difficult battle between what is right and what is wrong. But you will know if you're doing right by one simple way, one simple answer. It's going to suck. Unfortunately, that's the reality we live in, is doing the right thing is hard. Doesn't have to be. We could live in a society where we make it easy on ourselves and punish those who are bad and reward those who are good. But yet we choose to, in today's society, we are also seeing a huge transaction. We've seen a huge transaction since I was a little kid, where the bad is good and the good is now bad. And we're seeing this transaction. We're seeing this, these priorities people are setting in our lives. And it's just sad. It's sad because we can't ever have unlocked doors anymore. We can't go out and let our kids run free and tell them to come back when the streetlights come on anymore. We can't do that anymore because that's not the reality we live in anymore, because of scumbags and evil people that live in society right now, because we're not choosing to get rid of them. We're choosing to send them in a closet for 7 to 10 years and then they come back. We're not willing to choose to, and it really does, I truly do believe this, it all started when we took scripture out of schools. The day we took morals out of schools, we are not teaching kids morals. We're not teaching them values to learn anymore. We're not teaching them good values to learn anymore. Our kids hear gangster music and killing people, violence, sex, and drugs, and we're not, and you can see what kind of society it's creating. You see it today, and that's what the power of music is all about, guys. The music has an extraordinary power, and we've talked about this in our other videos. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching and listening to today's video. I hope you guys like this. Sorry it went over a little bit more than I wanted it to, but we covered a lot of good grounds. So thank you once again. Take care. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.